Welcome back to First Take. Back-to-back reigning Defensive Player of the Year and the consensus best defensive player in the league, Myles Garrett, will don a new jersey in Los Angeles this season after being traded to the Rams this summer for a haul as LA goes all in for the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, in Green Bay, star edge rusher Micah Parsons will miss at least the first 4 games of the season as he continues to rehab from an ACL injury. Parsons, though, isn't lacking in confidence as the season approaches. Listen to this.
I could confidently say I'm the best in the world.
At what?
I'm the best football player in the world.
If I said, Miles, you the best, you wouldn't want to be around me because you just
Hell no.
yeah, like, you want that. Like, you want people chasing after you. Like, that's a good sign.
I don't know how it's a competition right now, but I appreciate his banter. Keeps me going.
See, the problem with Miles is he really is delusional enough to think it's not a competition. I could confidently say I'm the best in the world.
At what?
I'm the best football player in the world. On the defensive side of the ball.
On the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
See, you don't got to make that distinction. I'm the best player in the world, bar none.
I love that. I could listen to that for like 20 more minutes. Who is more important to their team's success? Is it Myles Garrett or is it Micah Parsons when obviously everyone is healthy? Dante?
Michael Parsons can raise Green Bay's ceiling, but Myles Garrett can literally hand the LA Rams the Lombardi Trophy. So I have to go with Garrett because the LA Rams are set up to win this Super Bowl right now. And think about what they have. They have the quarterback. They have the offensive system. They have the offensive weapons. They have the defense. And then you add a guy like Myles Garrett who makes you slide protections, who gets 101s for everybody else. And then he makes your defense and your secondary so much better because those guys know that they don't have to cover for nothing but 3-4 seconds and that ball is coming out. So I have to go with Myles Garrett. If Myles Garrett is in a game, playoff game, 3rd and 8, that's more valuable than anything that Micah Parsons can do because you know that he would literally run through a brick wall and he's a 2-time defending NFL Defensive Player of the Year. So Myles Garrett is a better player, and he adds more value to his team.
It's hard to disagree with you, but then I remember, like, when Micah Parsons got hurt, the Green Bay Packers didn't win a game.
Oh, don't worry, Shay.
They didn't win one game.
That's going to be a part of this analysis over here. The last 5 games for the Green Bay Packers, they lost all 5. And what Michael Parsons provides, not saying that Myles Garrett can't do this, but there's something to a pass rusher that can line up in a 0 technique, a 3 technique, a 5 technique, a 9 technique, can line up all over the football field, be at linebacker depth, and create chaos and confusion for offensive linemen. Now, the deficiency, in my opinion, last year for the Green Bay Packers was their secondary. Early on, when Michael Parsons was there, man, they were jumping routes, playing great. I remember that Thursday night football game versus the Washington Commanders. I said, boy, look at those guys in the secondary, jumping routes and playing without any fear. Michael Parsons got hurt, and that secondary looked drastically different. And I think when you look at the Los Angeles Rams, y'all, we viewed them as Super Bowl contenders last year without Myles Garrett.
Like, he's a luxury.
And they could have won the Super Bowl last year without Myles Garrett. Yeah. Without Micah Parsons, you talk about the amount of pressure that's going to be on Jordan Love and that offense now to hold things afloat. That's why I'm going with Micah Parsons.
I'll push back and say there were people talking about the Packers being a Super Bowl contender before the trade last year for Micah Parsons. So it's not unheard of that they could have made a run without him. And there are some stats, if you look at it, where everybody literally gets to the quarterback faster when Micah Parsons is on the field versus off. Like everybody. Guys on the other side of the play, doesn't matter. He literally changes the gravity. But the reason I agree with Dante that it's Myles Garrett is that the difference between Myles Garrett and the second best defender in the NFL to me is pretty wide. It is pretty wide. It's bigger than anybody on the offensive side of the ball as far as the talent gap goes. And so when you look at Myles Garrett versus any defensive player, I do radio sometimes with Justin Pugh, and he told me that one of his first games that he was going against Myles Garrett, and there was an opportunity to hit Myles Garrett, and he said, I'm going to give this rookie his welcome to the league moment. And he went up against rookie Myles Garrett, and he said it was like concrete. He fell back.
Yeah.
He somehow gave a 10-year veteran his welcome to the league moment when Myles Garrett was 5 games into a season. He is a different player than anybody in football. We see it. We see him, mocking the quarterback pre-snap with pretending to dribble a basketball.
The crossover.
Yeah, the crossover. He's just, nobody else plays football like him. And so maybe you can say value-wise, sure, there's a case we made it's Micah Parsons, but when you're the best player on one side of the ball, and it's a huge talent gap beyond that, you got to go with Myles Garrett for me.
And then when you look at what this LA Rams secondary was ranked last year, they were ranked somewhere around 26.
Oh, they weren't good.
They weren't good. Do you know what having Myles Garrett on that defensive line does to that secondary?
Makes them better.
It puts you instantly in the top 10. So,
Makes them draft
yeah, you said they were better without Myles Garrett last year, but the secondary was still one of the detriments of the team and why they didn't win the Super Bowl. So this year, with Myles Garrett, you can almost pencil them in.
And I agree with you there because Sam Darnold, throwing for over 300 yards. But that's also another reason why they went and got Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson.
Yeah.
Right. Also, Micah Parsons led the NFL with 64 pressures last season, despite missing the last 3 games.
It's just
of the
that
regular
relentless pursuit.
And despite
1-6 loss to end their season, they ended up finishing 3rd in the NFC West. It's not going to get any easier this year. We know, we just talked about it. The Rams are now the Super Bowl favorites. The Seahawks are the reigning Super Bowl champions. And this 49ers team is old. They are the oldest team in the NFL. How big of a factor is age when you assess your former team in the 49ers, Dante?
Well, age is being used as a shortcut to evaluate the 49ers. And I think the question here should be not about their age, it's about the injury with the age.
Yeah.
If those players, the older players, can stay healthy, they have an advantage over majority of the NFL. And I think that we're forgetting what Kyle Shanahan provides for this offense. When you go out and get a guy like Mike Evans, who when healthy is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the history of NFL football,
I agree with you there.
that's going to give you, if he stays healthy,
That's
10,
the if.
10 to 15 touchdowns and a red zone threat that Kyle Shanahan has never had. And it pulls that extra safety out of the box. Now you have Christian McCaffrey and a guy like Kalen Black, who, if you saw him last night, he's going to be a problem. Christian McCaffrey can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run the football. Now George Kittle comes off a PUP. You bring back a healthy, motivated, in shape Deebo Samuel. And then you have Dejon Stribley, who's looking like he could possibly be their number 1 receiver this year. So they have a mixture of young talent around them.
But their defense was the problem last year.
Their defense was the problem.
They were decimated by injury.
Everywhere,
You
though.
can't have Fred Warner, who's arguably the best linebacker
Nick
in the game.
Bosa.
You can't have Nick Bosa, then your first-round draft pick, Mykal Williams. All these guys, Mustafa at the safety position, all these guys got injured last year for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, on both sides of the ball, though, they were
Well, that's what I'm
banged up.
saying. Like, if this team is healthy, you have 3 teams in the NFC West, in my opinion, who are Super Bowl contenders, and then we're basically talking about a coin flip. Survival of the fittest. Whoever comes out of it comes out of it. I would also add, I don't think it's a age thing for the San Francisco 49ers. I agree with Dante. I think it's an injury thing. And if they can get over that hump, then they're going to be in the thick of conversations about being a Super Bowl contender. Last year they made the playoffs. Okay, whoop-de-doo. We didn't think they were going to be contenders making the playoffs with all those guys being injured. But the standard in San Francisco, especially when you play in 2 Super Bowls where you had double-digit leads, it's not just making the playoffs. It's going and trying to host up that Lombardi trophy. That's what Kyle Shanahan is also missing.
The age thing is an injury thing. They're interlinked, and having it's not the substation in Santa
Or it might
Clara.
be a training thing in the way
It could be, but it's not the substation. It's a bunch of guys in their 2nd and 3rd contracts for the most part. Some of the young guys have gotten
Ricky
injured.
Pearsall's not an
I know.
old guy.
No,
Mustafa's not an older guy.
But like Mike Evans, the issue isn't that Mike Evans is getting up there. The issue is that Mike Evans has missed a bunch of training camp practices. That's what gives me that pause there, right? And so, yeah, it's important. But Dante, you mentioned it. The Rams are old too, and Rams fans got very mad at me a couple weeks ago by saying there's always a risk when you rely on a bunch of guys in their 2nd contract or 3rd contract. And by the way, that's old in the NFL, is being on your 2nd contract. Right. That's how it goes. The oldest team in the NFL, the Niners and the Rams, they're like 26 is their average age, okay? So we're not talking about baseball where you got a bunch of 42-year-olds. We're talking about both those teams are in the oldest 10 of teams, and their average age is 26.
And it's narrative and how it's written. Devontae Adams has dealt with hamstring issues his entire career, and last year he missed a lot of games before last year, he missed a lot of time with hamstring. going into the last season, Matthew Stafford, they didn't know if he would be available early in the season
He
because
was
of
in
his
an
back injuries.
Airstream on the side of the practice
Exactly.
field.
Do you know how quickly and how unexpectedly that back injury can just creep up? Do you think if they put those backup quarterbacks, Ty Simpson or any of those quarterbacks in there versus the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC West, and Matthew Stafford missed significant amount of times, that they're still Super Bowl favorites? Absolutely not.